Alrighty, folks, we got another wonderful CPI reading where month on month, year on year, headline and core were all better than expected. CPI headline now is a fat 3.0. We're seeing the 10-year note drop 10 basis points or more. If you don't know, that likely means mortgage rates are going lower. It would not actually shock me if mortgage rates were 6.95 ish by the end of the day, or certainly by the end of the week. What is happening in mortgage? We're going to talk to Jonathan from Convoy Home Loans, man. What's going on? I think we've seen
I
the peak of the rates.
I mean, you know, believe it or not, still, right? I'm looking at the 10-year treasury and we talk about that rectangle, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Every time that I'm on. We're still technically in that space.
Oh, are we?
It has
Okay.
yeah, it has I don't think because this is kind of like what when was this? It was more like we're at March level right now with today's dip.
Yep.
January was the last time where it was like a major dip. So if we
Okay.
if we see it drop all the way down to January levels, because that time was
And what was
three
January levels, just for clarity? Was that like 404 or something on the 10-year?
January, at the end of January, I'm looking at it right now, it was 387
Oh, sub
close.
four. Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. And then right
Okay.
now today we're obviously 417.
Yep.
Um, so if we're talking about like, in that range, technically there, I don't know if it'll, if it breaks past that point, obviously it's craziness.
Hmm.
But right as of right now, obviously we'll have to wait and see because it's not the first time the market did this dip and then
Yeah. Not the
shot
first
back
time.
up right after. Yeah. So I still think we're in that rectangle. I don't know if we've seen a peak of rates, but obviously as we've kind of noticed in the last 3 months or so, rates haven't really crossed past,
Right.
where we were back in April.
Yeah, you know what? I just want to applaud you, right? You're in the business. Lower rates help you, right? This it's not a secret.
Mhm.
But you're sitting here telling us, guys, don't celebrate. It's don't get overly excited. We're in this rectangle still. We're maybe at the lower end of it than the upper end. But don't celebrate too early, is what I hear you saying.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, right, any news can switch this over
Yeah,
tomorrow, right? So I try to keep I'm more of a realist more than an optimist because I don't
okay,
like to have and obviously going back on our channel, Dustin and I mostly
absolutely.
have said rates are going to keep going up and basically stay higher for longer while
Mhm.
everyone else was saying six cuts, yada yada. We want to make sure that everything's more real because the way that you make your decisions financially, especially, it can't just be dependent on where the rates are going to be, right? And where they're
Yeah,
expected to be. So I just want to make sure it's real for, especially for the listeners. Yes, rates are lower. I don't know how much it's going to stay lower or how much the lenders are going to adjust lower because there is a bit of a margin that people take a hit on, especially on non-QM side, right? On Wall Street, that if they already had something locked and the rates all of a sudden drop to a certain point, now they're losing money on it. Are they going to
mm,
really want to adjust that low that quickly? What's kind of the commitment there? On conventional loans, obviously it is lower, right?
yeah.
But that's no secret. But are we going to stay in this range? I mean, what's crazy is yesterday I was putting, and this was last night when the 10-year was a little higher, but I was putting together a quote sheet for a realtor, and on a 4 unit in LA as an investment property, I was pricing as low as a 599.
Shut up.
Yeah. So I'm assuming today it'll probably be like 5.8 or 5.7, right? Obviously that's with a buy down, right? But
Sure, of
buying down
course.
like a point and a quarter or something. But to
Yeah, but
get
you
that,
could get the seller to kick in, dude, because I think the market's slowing down. So
Mhm.
you got to at least ask for the seller to buy the points down, right?
Exactly. So I mean, there's opportunities there, right? I mean, it's not like a celebration of like, hey, this is going to be the answer to all of our prayers, right? Rain's not like we're not like we just did this rain dance, right? And it's not like
Yeah,
all of a sudden we see a little bit of a sprinkle, and this happened so many times that I am unsure, right, of where we're gonna go, right?
yeah.
That's why I'm
I
a little
like it.
more cautious because we've all been in this rain dance for so long. Every time we see a dip, there's a rain dance. Everyone's like, this is the time it's gonna rain. We're gonna finally get good crop, and it's like then all of a sudden, the sun comes in, scorches everything. So who knows what's gonna happen? I hope obviously it's good for us, like you said, but is it actually going to be, I want to make sure it's real for a lot of people and a little different than
Right.
what everyone else is saying. I'm not trying to
Right.
stand right on the hopium train. I'm trying to
Yeah.
write on the, hey, don't make your decisions right now based on the rates of today. Just make
Yeah.
your decisions on writing a good deal. That way
Yeah.
the rates are just an added benefit, cherry on top.
No, I think that's absolutely right. Absolutely the right thing to do, right? You're very good at what you do for that reason. You're in the moment. You're not living on the hopium train, which I greatly appreciate. I got to tell you, I did not think you could get a 599 even with a point or more on a fourplex. That's crazy,
Yeah.
right? Investment loans. I mean, I don't know. Seemingly a year ago, we're in the sevens.
Yeah. It's because obviously the conforming limits are higher now in LA, but
Of course, yeah.
like still I saw that and I was like, wow, it's crazy. I'm looking at the other one right now. It was a primary one, even at 1.5, loan amount 105, which is 30% down, but that you can buy it down with like a point to 575, 565. So it's
Wow.
like,
So people today, this
yeah.
is pre good CPI reading.
Mm-hmm.
Could get something in the fives. I did not expect that.
Yeah.
That's
It's
interesting.
primary residence, but if you want to buy
Sure.
it down that far, I mean, you can, right? It's there. What I'm seeing more, obviously, that people need to kind of watch out for is unfortunately on the conventional side,
Yep.
like so many people are trying to take like as the rates drop, people are going to try to take bigger margins, right?
Sure.
And offer, maybe higher rates because it, pays them a little better or whatnot. I've kind of the past like 3 weeks or so, I've kind of taken a lot of clients away from shops that were doing that because I
Mm,
was like, why are they offering you, 0.625 higher, right?
right.
When I literally can do it for 0.625 lower with less cost, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that scenario right now. And as the rates kind of do this, that's the biggest thing people need to look out for is like, are you actually getting the best deal, especially
Yeah.
on a conventional deal or whatnot? Because I've been seeing a lot of that come through.
Yeah. The other thing that seems to be going on in the mortgage industry, definitely more conventional than DSCR, is conditions. It looks like Fannie and Freddie, is a little bored, right? There's not a lot of loan origination, so it appears that they're going back through older files and kicking some back to the lenders, which is meaning more and more lenders are getting picky, and conditions are exploding. Are you guys seeing the same thing or no?
Yeah, it's taking a lot more calls with underwriters than it used to. Because before it was more like click of a button type thing where
Yeah.
submit and clear. Now it's taking like, okay, why didn't you clear this condition? Get on a call with the underwriter and kind of push it through. But
Mhm.
actually, this kind of segues in. This is why a lot of our deals right now, we're pushing, if you can go non-QM, the spread is even smaller now. So it's like we've been pushing more towards non-QM side instead of the QM side because if you're talking about like a difference in eighth or a quarter, if that, right?
Right.
And you're having to do brain surgery just to get a conventional loan, then it might not be worth it, right?
Yeah.
So we've kind of been, depending on the scenario, depending on the client, kind of what they're more sensitive towards, whether it's rate or cost. We've been kind of
Mhm.
being pivoting back and forth, depending on the conditions too. Because Fannie
Yeah.
Mae and Freddie Mac, like you said, they've been getting super picky. I've been getting so many emails of audits of old loans that were
Yeah.
done post
Exactly.
those conditions. It's like it's kind of ridiculous, but at the same time, what can we do, right? We just need to play ball with it.
Yeah. No, I think people need to realize this. If you're going conventional right now, if you're an agent, you're a buyer, I would tell you to plan an extra week for your closing cycle. Don't get caught in this. One of the reasons I love that Convoy comes back every week is you guys have the ability to go either conventional or non-QM, which is a huge benefit. Sometimes speed is more important. Certainty is more important than an eighth. Also, in this environment, you can get sellers because I think transactions will slow down. Get the seller to pay for it. Get the seller to pay a point. I still think the limit is 2 points. Is that right?
On investment properties for Fannie Freddie, yes.
Yeah, 2 points. So
Yeah.
every offer I write, I'd be asking for 2 points. And worst thing they could say is no, but I'd be asking for 2 points. If somebody wanted to reach out to Convoy Home Loans and say, hey, my lender's not stepping up, or maybe I got a deal to look at, I want to price conventional and DSCR or non QM, how would they do that?
Go to convoyhomeloans.com and let us know you came from more at.
Yeah, tell him you came from ORET. You're going to get this fine gentleman, Jonathan, or his partner in crime, Dustin. If you don't, you're going to end up in a queue with all the plebes. You don't want to be there. You want one of the two guys at the top.
Yeah.
Anything, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was kind of talking about conventional investment and DSCR investment not being that far off. Before we got on the call, I was telling you about how with the recent market, I just priced another one yesterday on DSCR with 2.5 points down or 3 points down to buy it down. It was a 6.1. And today is like a 6.07 on a 30-year fixed DSCR. And if you're doing in
607 on a
607.
30-year fixed DSCR.
Crazy. That's how all our marketing material is going to go out this week.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, because that's but you know it's kind of there now, right? And so it's you know, is it more advantageous to really go conventional right this minute, right? I mean, maybe not, depending on what you're looking to do. But
It
if you're
depends on how
doing,
clean the file is. That's what it is. It's how
yeah,
clean the file
exactly,
is.
exactly. But I mean, you know, DSCR right now is if we're talking low sixes now, you can buy it down to. In which
Six
case,
one.
if you're in the low sixes, right, and let's say you bite the bullet and you're like, I'm just gonna buy it down 2.5, whatever points or whatever to buy it down to 6.1 or 6.0, then you're probably not gonna have to refi for
No.
a good chunk of time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's kind of what we've been seeing lately.
Okay. All right. Again, folks, Convoy Home Loans comes back each week because, again, they have the ability to do both. You guys need to be reaching out to Convoy Home Loans and say, hey, what's conventional? What's DSAR, non QM? What's right for me? Is it speed, certainty? How clean's the file? These are the guys, Dustin and or Jonathan. Go to convoyhomeloans.com. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.